I was
if
saying,
you
you
don't, you can
actually
burn
answered
out.
my second question. You answered my second question about, leaders, we don't always have to look like we have it together. We just
Nope.
have to understand how to handle our emotions
Yes.
and don't pass it on to those that report to you. So
And don't take it home to your
how do
family
you do?
either.
Don't take it absolutely
Your
to your
husband is
family.
not, he is not the whipping board because of what happened at work.
Absolutely. I love that. So I'm gonna go to our faith because you and I are deeply religious people.
Yeah.
How does our faith play into uncertain times? And talk about how even if someone does not have the same faith that we have, a higher being, but talk about how that plays into uncertain times.
So faith does not necessarily remove uncertainty, but it reminds us that uncertainty does not have to have the final word. It allows us to say, I
Mm.
may not know what happens next, but I don't have to navigate what happens next alone. So, how does that uncertainty how do we stay grounded with the uncertainty? Again, remember, life is uncertain. Every second is uncertain. So, how do I deal with that? So, because I have faith, then I know that I have to put my money where my mouth is. Because people in church doing this, Lord, I trust you. Oh, Father, I trust you. When everything is going well. But as soon as something not going well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Lord, help me. He already told you what to do. Trust me. God's hand is doing this, and it never moves. But we're over here playing. Yeah, we playing. And he's like this. And when something goes on, he said, do you trust me? He's still asking the same question. He ain't moved. He's just like, do you trust me? Do you trust me? He keeps asking us that same question. And we like, yes, Lord, I trust you. Oh my God, I don't know what I would do. And I hand him my burdens. I hand him stuff. And then I take it back in the same second. Because he don't need our help. He doesn't need your help. But if you are a leader, or you are a caregiver, you are all of us. If you have faith, then are you playing or are you real about it? Because when he's asking you if you trust him, he wants to know, do you trust him? And that means putting your money where your mouth is. That means when hard times, sit back, shut up, and move out of his way and let him work. Now, is his answer always going to be what you think it should be? Is it going to come out the way you think it should be? No, it's not. But if I look back in my life, there's a lot of things in my life that have happened that I didn't want them to happen the way they did, but it made me who I am today. It didn't say everything would be good, but it says everything together happens. What is it? But all things happen. Everything that happens is not going to be good, but they work together. I think it's bad. He has a plan, and we just need to stop and say, God, what was your plan for me? Because this was my plan, but my plan may be going down the wrong road. So I've got to stop and just literally trust, not play in my mind. Because if I play in my mind, I'm playing with the fear, I'm playing with the anxiety, and we know God is not the creator of fear. But in the Bible, it says, fear not. And when it said, fear not, in fact, I have a book that I'm writing where fear and faith collide.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it done because fear and faith collide. Most people say when you fear, you don't love the Lord. That's not a truth. Because in the Bible, when it says, fear not, I am your Lord, he gave compassion. He didn't beat them down for not believing or having fear. He always gave compassion at that time. So, yes, God knows we're going to fear, but we still need to believe in him and not walk in that fear, not waddle in that fear, and keep going down the hill and rolling down the hill in it. That's what we need to be.
I don't want to, while we're in this space, I want to give you the space right now to talk to those people that, especially in our community, I'm gonna pray about it. I'm gonna talk to, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying
it's
that at
not.
all. But talk to those that feel like if I just pray about it or talk to my pastor about it, then I'm good. I don't need all of that other stuff. Talk directly to those folks that feels like they don't need as much mental support as heart support or
So let me
body
go
support.
back to my original thing. The mind runs everything. The mind can do nothing. The heart can do nothing. The mind didn't tell it. If you break your leg today, are you going to your PCP? Are you going to your family doctor if you break your leg? Or are you going to a
I am
specialist?
absolutely going. So I'm going to a specialist.
So you're gonna go to a specialist, someone who
Right.
specializes in that, right? Because your family doctor might move it wrong and not set it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they have people who have studied to for bones and know how the bones go and stuff like that, right? If you have a heart attack, are you gonna go to your chiropractor?
Mm-mm.
Why?
Mm-mm.
He's a
I'm going to
doctor,
the heart doctor,
but he's a
the
doctor.
cardiologist.
But he's a doctor. Why not? Right? You're going to a specialist. Well, guess what? God gave me my knowledge. God gave me the to go and get study and gave me the skills and my gift of counseling to listen, to be there to help you process. Because my job is not to tell you what to do. My job is to listen and to ask you the right questions for you to come here and formulate what needs to happen. We value the body over the mind, but the body can't move without the mind. Because if something happens to your brain and you're brain dead, the body shuts down because it needs the mind it needs all of the mind to tell it what to do. So why is it when your mind is not going right, your depression, your anxiety, when your mind, some of that is chemical imbalance. So let me stop for a second. Let me tell you something. Anxiety and depression is not always just situational.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's chemical. That means our body is not producing something that our brain needs to function properly. And if it doesn't have what it needs to function properly, then it doesn't work properly, right? And no matter what you do, it's not going to work. And that's where meds come in. And people are like, I don't want to take medicine. But even when it's not chemical and it is situational, grief, trauma, all of those things, you've got to process through that stuff. And how do I process it? To process it means I have to go and talk it through. But I can't talk it through because every time I go to talk about it, I feel like it's happening all over to me again. That's why we have trauma therapists, because that trauma therapist is going to lead you safely back and while keeping you present, help you to go back and to be able to process through. It's desensitizing. So when we have babies, women have babies, you know that hurt, right? Then why in the heck do we go back and do it more than once? You know, it's like, you know that hurt that first time and you're like, but when you think about it and you look back, you don't think about, oh my God, that was painful. You think, oh my baby, I have my baby. You don't even think about the pain. Because see, I went through 28, I went through 26, 27 hours with a big head baby. So, and it was painful. But I went back and had another one. Because God desensitized me to that pain. So when I look back, I can see everything that happened. Even while the pain was going, I can see every bit of it. But when somebody has been raped or has a trauma, they can't go back because it feels like that panic, that fear, everything that happened when it was happening, they feel it all over again. So it feels like it's happening all over. So they can't see what's going on. But when we desensitize to it, which when we have trauma therapy like EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing, then now we can see it without feeling it. That's what that is. So
Wow. That's
that's what happens when we have kids, and that's what we need to happen when we have trauma and anxiety. We need to be able to see it so that we can see that wasn't my fault. I didn't cause that. I see why now I was fearing that. Because when something happens to us, we avoid, suppress. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to see it. We push it away. We don't think about it. But all the anxiety and fear and all that is still happening.
Thanks for talking to people with faith in our community about the importance of getting help. Can you talk to the non believers as to why they need to get help as well?
So even if you're faith or non-faith, You need to get help. And I know the faith people are saying, I can go to God. But where do those go that don't have that higher being or that faith? You still cannot sit in your anxiety, your depression. You can't sit in it. And so at that point, you need to ask yourself, what am I feeling? What's contributing to this? And what do I need? And if you're needing something more than you can give yourself, then you need help, right? Because you need to talk to somebody. Now, I know some people think, well, why do I need to talk to somebody? I'll talk to my mama. I can go talk to my daddy. But are they going to talk to you and ask you the questions to help you to come to your thoughts and what you are thinking and what you need? Or they're going to tell you what they think you should have and their bias and their, oh girl, you need to do this, 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 and this. Or dude, you need to know. A professional is going to help you. They're not going to tell you what to do. They're going to ask you the questions to help you realize that you already have the answers, but you didn't think about it. There's nothing new in the world we can tell you, but there's a different way to think about it. We can't change the past, we can't perfect our past, but we can see it differently, and we can move forward differently. And that's what getting help and talking to someone is about. How do I move forward differently? Because I don't know how. I'm stuck. So whether you have faith or non-faith, the people who have faith, they know they can go to God, and God leads them, and God can lead them back to a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
But those who don't, it's like you have no hope. What are you hoping in and hoping for? So now let's be practical. Why do I feel this way? What's going on with me? What do I need? Because I can guarantee you, if a physical ailment or physical something was happening to you, you'd go to somebody to get help. It's the same for the mind, even greater, even more so than the body. So that's how we protect that.
All right. All right. So I'm going to bounce back to our faith journey. And I'm going to ask you this question. Is there a scripture, some type of spiritual principle, or maybe even a personal practice that you would say that would help guide people, or something that's actually helped you through your own season? Or do you want to share that?
Oh, what helped me through my own season? I can tell you that. It's Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you. God knows the plans he has for me. God's book is inerrant. So that means everything he says is true. He cannot lie. And if he cannot lie, then he says he knows the plans he has for me, which means he already knows what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do and where I'm going. So he knows what's happening in my life before it happens. He's already on the other side of all that. And if I sit and I think, wait a minute, God says he knows the plans that he has for me. So then that plan is not for me to kill myself, or that plan is not for me to harm myself, or my plan is not to sit in the bed in a fetal position. I know that's not his plan. So what is his plan? So I have to try and wait on him and do what I need to do when he gives me, because people think our thoughts are just our thoughts. But a lot of times God is also telling us, he's giving you the wherewithal to know how to move forward. And his word tells you exactly. Everybody says, oh, there's no book, there's no plan, there's no instruction manual. Yes, there is. The Bible is practical daily. I know in my practice, when my husband and I, we do couples together, my husband brings the biblical and I bring the practical side of the Bible. So when he's talking, the Bible says this, 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 and this, I'm coming back with, let me tell you how that works in your real life. Because everything that you're doing, that you're doing now hadn't happened in the Bible. And so God he already knows all these things. And so for me, my journey, Jeremiah 29:11 brought me through a whole lot of things, especially when imposter syndrome sits in. And as leaders and people in corporate and people, oh my gosh, imposter syndrome, people have like, oh, where has that come from in these last few years? It's always been there. They just put a name to it. Because we always have felt like we don't belong in these rooms. We don't belong. Oh my God, they must think I'm stupid. Oh my God, they don't know I can do this work. I don't believe I can do this work. We doubt everything. And so when imposter syndrome sits in, I have to go back to my Father and say, God, you said your plans you had for me. So I'm going to move in that faith. I'm going to move just like you said. You plans you have for me. So you put me in this company, so let me do this job. So I'm going to do this job to the best of my ability. And everything else you're going to add on to. And I'm going to keep it moving. But I have to have confidence at that point that he's got me.
I like that. I like that. So give me one thing, or share with my listeners or my viewers one practical thing that they can do this week to protect their emotional well-beings.
First, you need to create a pause in your week. You need to create a pause in your day. We are so busy working, 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 working. And so let's talk about an 8 hour day. We're working, 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 working. We never stop. Well, as you're going through that 8 hours, you are slowing down as you're going. If you take 10 minutes every hour or even every 2 hours to stop your mind and do something mindless, it will reset your mind to be able to start your project and do better on what you were doing, because you're already at a deficit for that hour. I stop, I do something mindless, which means I'm not thinking about that project or whatever, and I refresh myself. Now, when I go back to it, I have a fresh mind. So it's like I regenerated. And so now I can move some more. So first, take a pause daily. This is why they give you breaks. You need to take those breaks. So create a pause in your week, 20 to 30 minutes, I would say daily, without working, without solving the world's problem, without solving anyone else's problems, without scrolling on the internet or taking care of anybody else. We tell people to do things like color by number. It's on your phone. Do a memory game. We're losing our memory because we don't use our mind the way we used to. When I was little, we used to know phone numbers, names, numbers, everything memorized. See, now we don't. Use it or lose it. And that's what's happening. We're losing it. So if you do a memory game every day for 20 to 30 minutes, you will increase your memory. You will increase your brain function. You need to ask yourself 3 questions every day. What am I feeling? What is contributing to it? So what's the cause? And what do I need? If you can ask yourself those questions, because we spend a lot of time on everybody else, turn it to you. What do you need? What are you feeling? What's contributing to it, and change those things. This is how we protect our emotional well-being. And doing those coping skills, when we say coping skills, you hear people say coping skills all the time. Coping skills, we have to cope with life, which means we have to deal with life. That's every day. We have automatic coping skills that are there. So let's say you're driving a car. When I'm driving my car and a car swerves over into my lane, I say, ooh, I'm going to be all right. So I just did a coping skill. I just naturally cope by saying it's okay and kept driving. But if that car swerves into my lane and knocks me and turns my car and we flip, then now I've had a trauma. And so the next time a car comes in my lane, I'm like, oh no, and I'm anxious because now my automatic coping mechanism is broken. So now I have to do manual. So automatic is broken. Now I have to do manual. So I manually have to say, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. And every time it happens, I have to say, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, because I have to manually put it back in my mind. So the more I do it, it becomes automatic again. So that's what happens when we are anxious, when we're depressed and all that. Sometimes our automatic coping mechanisms have broken because of trauma, something's happened or whatever, and we have to manually fix it. And that's repetition, doing it over and over to fix it. So when we are taking care of others, we have to stop and take care of ourselves. You cannot continue to pour from an empty cup. You cannot serve from an empty cup. You have to refill. And so there are things like we talk about coloring. We talk about the games on your phone, those mindless games that people play. Do that for 20 minutes. It's mindless because you don't have to solve anything. And then come back and do your work and see how much more capacity you have at that point.
I like that.
To protect your well-being.
I like that. I like that. What conversations should people be having with themselves when they realize that something in their life has changed? How should they encourage? I know in our faith we encourage ourselves, but what kind of conversations should people be having?
You need to ask yourself, am I staying in this job because it's still right for me? Or am I staying because this is familiar to me? Sometimes we have outgrown our environments, our relationships, our habits, or our family, but familiarity keeps us attached to those things. So we have to ask ourselves that question. Why am I staying? Is it because I'm just familiar? Because familiar is not always healthy, and familiar is not always comfortable, but we're familiar with it.
I like that. So there's a lot of people that lost their job. In one of my podcasts, I talked about in the first 5 months of this year, there was 8.6 million jobs lost.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are out there lost, and some people are on jobs and still, for
Still
whatever
lost.
reasons, are just not working for them. To them and tell me, talk to them and encourage them.
So if you're working a job that you're still feeling lost on, or you've lost your job, and because you put your identity in that job, and now you have an identity crisis and you don't know what to do, you don't know who you are, you have to figure out who you are. And so when I ask people, who are you? That's a hard question for a lot of people to answer. But when I ask, who are you? I'm not talking about what you do. I'm talking about
Mm,
who are you when nobody needs you? Who are you if you were the only person on that island and nobody was there? So you can be a teacher, but who are you teaching? So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking, who are you? Because you still are somebody. You're still valuable if you're not helping somebody, but you still have an identity. So what is that identity? For me, I'm a kind person. That's part of my identity. Not professor. Professor is not part of my identity. That's what I do. That's not who I am. So you have to find who you are. Once you figure out who you are, then now you can determine, what do I need? What do I want? That's the biggest thing. What do I want to do? Yes, we need a job to pay our bills. Yes, we need a job to be able to survive. So find that job. But if you find it that is something you really like, then you will stay on it and you don't mind doing it. I know that I love tech. I loved my job until it changed. It changed to where they wanted me to be a programmer too. And it was like, I don't want to do that. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up to do these things, to develop and to do this. I didn't sign up to go back and get a master's in and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I loved my job until it changed. And yes, I had the opportunity when they did the layoffs. I knew I was going to be laid off a year ahead of time. And I was helping the people in my group to letting them know, hey, we're going to be laid off, guys. You need to start making sure you got school. They paying for school. Go get it while it lasts. So I knew these things, and I had an opportunity to keep my job. But I'm like, I don't like what I'm doing anymore. They're going to give me a good severance. Let me get out of here and do something different. I already had my master's in counseling at this point, but I wasn't moving in it. And it was time for me to move in it. Yes, familiar was what was comfortable, making six figures or whatever I was making. But now, what am I going to do? But I wanted to move into something that I enjoy. I enjoy what I'm doing now. I have my private practice. I'm a professor. I'm not doing tech like I used to, but I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm going to do this till my mind is no longer good. I tell people I can do this from my wheelchair because I
mm-hmm,
enjoy helping people. And I can do that as long as my mind stays good. And then I don't
mm,
have to have legs to do it, as long as my mind is good. So I'm not
mm-hmm.
about to retire because I enjoy what I'm doing. So if you've lost your job, you have to find what you really like and what you really want and need. If you need a job because you need the money, then you may have to take something that it may not be glamorous or whatever, but will it get you what you need until you can get to what you want? We have a goal. Whatever the goal is, we have to remember what our goal is. And the road to get to that goal, we can't fall apart on the road to get to it. We need to remember the goal is here. Sometimes we say, well, I'm tired. I'm tired of having to put up with the boss. I'm tired of having to play this game. I'm tired. But if you stop, then you don't get the goal. But if you keep going, whatever the difficulty, you're trying to get to the goal.
I
And
like that.
so if you get fired, your goal is still to keep working. What's the goal? Find a job or whatever. How do you get there? That's what you're trying to do.
I like that. I like that. So I know you're busy, and I want to say thank you for taking the time out to have this conversation with me. I don't want you to be a stranger here at Tech Leadership and Faith with Adrian. I will be inviting you back again because it's amazing. Really and truly, it was amazing. Final questions are actually going to be all about you. What's next for you? Like, do you have any upcoming or workshops or anything you want to share with my viewers?
I have some events coming up in the works that we're putting together for 2027, where we're putting together couples events. We're also putting together wellness events. We don't have them all planned. That's where we're taking the last part of this year to plan out our 2027. But I do have some books coming out. I have a couples game coming out. Um, private practice is growing. I have associates that are coming on board. So my private practice is also expanding. I'm working at one university, but I'm trying to move it down to just one now. I was at three. I love Grand Canyon. I love my university. It's awesome. Those are the things that I'm doing. I have a lot of irons in the fire, but here's the thing. Even though I have a lot going on, I still take care of me. I still every day take the time for myself. I can't tell you to do something that I don't do. I know people think that, yeah, just talking about that. Self-care is important. You've got to take care of self first, because if that job if something happens to you today and you die, that job's moving on without you. So you need to take care of you, because they're not going to always take care of you, but you need to take care of you while on that job. Okay? So leaders, people who are in corporate America, you want to lead. We want to lead well. I remember, Adrian, I heard you say, you love what I do. I love leading. I love tech. I love this. Great. Keep loving it, but love yourself even more. By taking care of you, then you can take care of it. But you've got to take care of yourself and protect your mind, because you protect your mind, you protect your heart and your soul. You got to protect the mind, because it runs everything.
Yes. So how can my viewers get in contact with you? How can they follow you? I'm going to post everything this platform, but how can they engage with you?
Well, they can reach me at my website, which is yourlifecca.com. You can reach me at yourlifecca@gmail.com. I have an office in Duncanville, Texas. I see people virtually and I see people in person. They can reach me at those places. And in the 2027, I have a whole new platform that I'm coming out with. So I'll have blogs, I'll have another channel, things like that. So again, I'm planning for my 2027. So
all right, folks, she's coming back. She's got to introduce us to a new platform. So she is definitely coming back. I'm speaking it in the atmosphere.
Keep on speaking it then. Thank you, Adrian, for having me.
Yeah,
I love just having this conversation with you. I love just being able to talk about the mind and how it's so important, because it really is, because we are who we are and we will be here. And to be here, we've got to keep this going.
Yeah, I was going to ask you for your final thoughts, but yeah, give me your final thoughts here.
Wellness, being well is my final thought is you've got to stay well. You don't have to sit in anxiety, depression. You don't have to sit in what the biggest thing. We don't have to allow others to define who we are. And because we allow others to define who we are is why that we keep in this whole cycle of what people think about us. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? They're going to think this or that. Only person that it matters, what you think of you is your business. What others think of you is not your business. And if I just keep thinking about what I think of me and thinking about what I'm going to do and not allow others to define me, my life would be so much easier. So stop allowing others to define you and you define you. That's how we can decrease that anxiety, that worry, that stress, all of those things. Those are my final words.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, you always have a seat at the table here, my platform, and however you want to leverage me, use me, friend. I am your friend.
You can do the same
no
with
task
me.
is too small, too big. I'm here
You
for
can
you.
do the same with me. If you need me, call me. I'll be right there for you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining my podcast, and I appreciate you. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. I've enjoyed it. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.